Cubeta.
Que me deje de llamar de Jimmy, que me cargo al narrador este. Y al pollo también, de paso.
El pollín con barro.
Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind.
¿Qué es? ¿Pa' que me o cague o vomite? ¿Pa'
the
qué?
many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me.
No entiendo tu lógica.
The game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be?
Yes,
the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Es que me lo pone como si fuera algo, pues la séptima maravilla del mundo o algo, pero yo ¿qué quieres que te diga? Pues solo veo un cubo. No le veo yo.
Can you feel it? The
No.
glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already
estaba
be sweeping
desesperada.
through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
¿Carismático?
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more
A mí
attractive.
eso no me recuerda
as a
al
person.
Minecraft de repente, no sé por qué.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on,
Ah,
don't
sí,
they?
son infinitos, me
All
lo puedo
this
llevar
and
todo.
more await you in the Stanley Parable too.
Ah, pues si me lo... Ah, bueno, pues nada, pues para mí. Yo qué sé.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Supongo.
Ya no sé si te falta algo más, así pensando en serio.
No lo sé, estoy mirando yo también.
Los saltos todavía se los tiene que guardar.
Por ahí pone salida.
Es que lo de los saltos es para algo que quiero que pruebe después.
Ok.
Estoy aquí. Tú estás aquí.
A ver, espérate, deja que le... A ver. Círculo de salto, este mapa, logro gratis, el botón que dice el nombre del jugador, merchandising, settings for champion. Cubeta,
Ya están
decoraciones
todos, sí.
de oficina, epílogo,
Están todos.
coleccionar... Sí, ya están todos. Entonces puede ser la salida.
Vámonos, nos llevamos esto. ¿Para qué?
Activízanos la salida.
Sí, sí, decía
¿Cómo
salir.
que no? ¿Se pone ahí salida?
Ah, salida. Yo creí que era lo de la izquierda, lo de la derecha, lo de la salida.
No, esto es la salida. No sé para qué me llevo
All
el
right.
cubo.
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to
Porque
move on?
gratis.
Lo que me querías enseñar tú, señor narrador, porque yo... Ahora es rojo. Por la luz, supongo.
Ahora es comunista.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
No
Yes,
las
I know it's
entiendo.
not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. So, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Si haces un juego con todo esto no va a tener sentido.
Okay. Are you ready?
Como si el juego que estuviese jugando ahora tuviese sentido.
The Stanley Parable 2.
¿Sí?
What?
¿Qué es esto?
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's
No sé, ¿me vas a
sort
dar
of-
un logro?
Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we
Ajá.
go. Version 2.
¡Salto!
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
Cosa de...
This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags.
Mira la cubeta.
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it.
¿Qué es?
I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the
¿Por qué no has
original
hecho eso
game.
desde el principio? En vez de
But it
estar dando
possibly
vueltas para
would.
nada.
I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2."
Ajá.
Let me see if I can whip something up.
A ver, improvisa.
All right,
Uno así sencillo, con...
take a look.
Tiene que ser sencillo, para que quede por neto. Apenas, ¿ves? Sencillo. ¿Está bien? Sencillito para...
Sencillo hasta que ves la deformación de fondo y te marea.
Sí, te marea y dices, ahora estoy en un juego de miedo, qué bonito, todo ahí en rojo, así, para nada, un cague que flipas.
Mi juego favorito, Stanley Parable 2 para la Virtual Boy.
Y el pianito de fondo como para no darle más suspenso a la cuestión.
Sí.
Más respeto al piano.
Exactamente, los pianos son maravillosos. Sobre todo si te dejan tocarlos en el juego. Si no te dejan tocarlos en el juego y los hacen de corchopán, no, eso ya no... Eso ya no mola. Esto lo han hecho en infinito, eso mola.
Interesting.
Vale. ¿Ahora qué? De mierda la intro. Hemos vuelto aquí. ¿Por qué sos?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Se supone que ahora tendré un nuevo contenido. Sí, voy a tocar todo. Me importa tres cojones, yo toco todo. ¡Ay, la cubeta! Esta mierda la sigo tocando. Fuera esto. Me llevo la cubeta.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
¿Para qué? No lo sé. Ve aquí un cordón.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
tocar
telling
todo.
him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Una sala muy... A ver, parecía haber visto.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How
¿Podré saltar ahora?
Never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Me parece estar equivocado,
Stanley
claro.
took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No. Vamos a ver si...
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo
Ah, mira,
lift, yes.
ahora hay
Go
esto.
there. Go to the cargo lift.
¡Hazte!
Espérate, hay algo al frente, antes de que entres al ducto.
No, si ya lo he visto.
Es el botón de Jim.
You found one of them. One of the miniature
¡Ven!
Stanley
Ahora
figurines.
tengo
No
dos.
reward for collecting all of these. Only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across.
Hombre, ten en
one of
cuenta que
these
no te
beautiful
callas, pues sí,
figurines.
lo voy a tener que admirar.
Te vi con ganas de saltar. No.
¿Qué dices? No, ves cosas raras, Master. Uy. Vale. Uy, qué recuerdos. A ver. Diálogo.
Diálogo del narrador.
Sí, diálogo.
Narrator dialogue.
Fon. Nada. Vale.
is day number 295. Tape number.
Y la cordura.
I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore.
Es que nada es real, señor, está en un
The
juego.
longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time.
Sí, eres
I pick it
extraño.
up.
Y luego me hice a mi rarita por lo del... por lo de tirarme al pozo sin fondo.
Always the same feeling. And the emptiness
Me
in
gusta
my
que digas
chest.
Sí, Stevie, todos creemos que eres muy poderosa.
Gracias.
Doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. Still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms.
Está hablando de la droga, no está hablando del balde.
Why everything feels so.
No se droguen niños. Y si hay niños aquí, por favor váyanse. No, no tienen que estar aquí.
Sí, no deberían estar aquí.
Treasure. I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even.
Uy,
just
se
an
está volviendo
hour
camello
with the
ahora, no
bucket.
puede ser.
This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back.
Hombre, te van a meter en un manicomio, eso está claro.
I don't know who might be trying to get me.
Uy. Que viene.
What's that?
Sobrenatural.
Who's there?
¿Por qué te miedo? No quiero.
Caporata.
¿Eh? A mí me prometieron que esto no era de miedo. ¿Qué mierda está pasando aquí? ¿Por qué esto se estrella en sí de repente?
Lo normal. Pero ahí dijo algo importante de que es por lo que te dije que después del nuevo contenido, que quería hacer ese contenido normal antes del nuevo. Todos los finales que hiciste antes cambian con la cubeta. Y no me refiero a cambia el diálogo final, me refiero a son totalmente distintos las cosas que pasan con la cubeta.
Esto no estaba antes.
Así que si repites lo que hiciste antes pero con la cubeta, vas a... pues eso, vas a obtener otro final.
Yo quiero ver
Dicho-
hacerlo sin cubeta ahora.
Sí, de eso es lo que te voy a decir. Dicho esto, tendrías que ver qué es lo del ducto sin cubeta.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Open door on his left.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5
Sí,
years
siempre
ago.
lo sigo. Oye, ay.
Uy.
Uy. Tengo un tremendo equilibrio. Buah.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that
Hey.
it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path.
Ah.
That it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path.
Ay,
that it
ay, ay,
seemed
me
the
raya, me
office
raya.
had begun.
Sí, sí, muy bien.
So far off the beaten. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me.
Pero
all
no
the
te
absurd
repitas, que me
adventures
rayas.
we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording. It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you.
Súper sencillo.
Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights.
Sí.
How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look
Ah,
what
se me
you've
puso
done to me. This
triste.
is all your fault.
Ah, claro, claro. Yo soy la culpable de todas las desgracias del mundo, ¿vale?
Que me lo imagino como con los brazos cruzados y como haciendo un verge, como de, gracias. Estoy enojado y es
All
tu
of his
culpa.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Ahora sí,
meeting.
haz el final que tú
Perhaps he had
quieras, solo con
simply
la
missed a
cubeta.
memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed
Vamos,
over him.
vamos a hacer el de... El del
Stanley
flip.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his
¿El del
left.
qué?
El del sueño.
O sea, el del estacionamiento.
Sí, el de abajo, sí. ¿Qué pasó a ti?
Son las pistas de cómo conseguir las figuras, pero créeme que...
Nada, tampoco me
No son
apetece
tan...
buscarla.
Sí, o sea, es que no son tan necesarias las pistas, o sea, te las vas a encontrar por... casi por accidente.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you?
Claro.
The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket.
Es mío, mío.
I know how hard it must be, given the
Mío,
pressure
mío.
that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your
Vale.
bucket. This is your companion
Vale.
and lifelong friend.
Mío, sí,
You
mío.
can't hand it over. Oh, no.
Vale,
Getting
mío.
into name
Vengo a dar
calling
cuenta
now,
de
it
que esto es
seems.
un cubo
Is
de
this how
compañía.
low the broom closet
Sí.
has sunk that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley,
¿Qué insulto?
I never liked
¿Dónde?
this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting
Sí,
friends?
somos amigos.
That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your
Está muy
path
mal
in
esta
an
persona,
even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it.
No tengo
Really
piedad.
tell the broom closet
Soy
off for
malvada.
its demeaning comments.
¡Ah!
Expand on the wide
Malvada.
variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich
Creo que no hay
emotional
nada más
landscape of
gracioso
your
que estoy
feelings for the
intentando ser
bucket.
amenazante.
Changed and evolved over
¿Por
the years.
qué? Soy amenazante.
Es humor involuntario.
Soy amenazante. Voy a partirle la cara a quien sea.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
Ay.
There.
¡Ah, mira!
Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take our hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Ah. Y yo pensaba que estaba mal de la cabeza, pero el señor este
All
que
right,
narra...
I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate.
Ah.
You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a
Es un
bucket.
poco
That way, if
redundante.
you're ever unsure
Pero
whether
bueno.
the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, "Ah, it's a bucket."
Ah,
There really
no lo
is a
sabía.
wide variety of applications for this sticker.
No sé. Es impresionante. ¿Vas a decir algo más?
You know what? I could take the name calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now
Uh-huh.
the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display.
Ya.
You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside. And
Vale.
you get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Vale. Ah, pero no dice nada. Pensaba que diría algo. ¿Me encierro otra vez? ¿Nada más? ¿Todo? ¿Ya fue? Bueno. Vamos para abajo.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Mío.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these
Debería.
things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs?
Sirve.
What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that.
Ahora es cuando...
Stanlerine
Antes,
under
cuando
your
estábamos
belt.
con las... con las reseñas malas y todo eso, ahora cuando voy yo a Steam pongo una reseña mala diciendo Stanley no tiene bigote y eso es malo.
¿Quién Stanley para volver? Le tienen que poner bigote. What does it mean about you not having a mustache?
Why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
Se robó mi chiste de la economía de hace rato. No estoy de acuerdo con eso.
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
Ya, el balde pues es un poco callado.
Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket.
Es de otra persona, no es
How
mío.
did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong.
¡Lo
Surely
robé!
no good would come
Oye,
from
mi
this.
balde.
Who knows what sorts of
Oye.
bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
Oye, mi balde.
Indeed. Now he noticed the rooms were repeating, which
Mi
was, of course,
balde.
very odd. Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious.
Uy.
Without my
Las
bucket,
drogas
I've
son
gone
malas,
truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Me está llamando.
Stanley, it's me.
¿Dónde está? Ah,
Could it truly be?
gracias.
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next.
Pero-
None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Ah, que no.
to me, Stanley. Find me.
Bueno, bueno,
He had to
ven.
find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
¿Po
The
del
real
balde?
bucket was inside of him all along.
Hostia, eso no puede ser sano.
Stanley doubled over in agony.
O sea, ¿y cómo se metió? ¿Y por dónde exactamente? ¿Me he muerto? A ver,
This is
normal,
the
es que
story of a
tenía...
woman named Mariella.
¿Eh?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She
Ah, es
rose,
verdad que sí.
got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
Ahora me emociona, pero con la señal con Bolt,
Her
estupendo.
walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Y se murió.
Right
Sí.
away, she knew what the problem was.
No tenía balde.
This man had no bucket.
Sí.
Of
Es
course,
triste.
he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with
Es que
him.
claro, es que hay que llevar su balde siempre, gente. Es que si no, te jode la vida. Si no tienes balde, no tienes vida. Por eso estoy tan jodida, gente, porque yo no tengo
Of
balde.
course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she
Sí, es
backflipped
maravilloso.
all the way to work.
Increíble.